Hi, and welcome back to the Affirmation Addict Podcast. Today is February 14th, meaning it is Valentine's Day, the day of love, and today I am talking all things love. I love, and not in the traditional sense, not talking about the weddings and the marriages and the soulmates, but I will dive into some stuff about that. But today, in honor of the day of love, in honor of Valentine's Day, I wanted to share 5 lessons I have learned about love, and I'm going to be referencing my notes. So for everyone watching on video, I'm looking over here because my laptop's right here. But let's talk about love. The 5 lessons I want to share are not in respect to like one specific type of relationship. It is not only in respect to your soulmate or your partner or your significant other. It is in respect to all types of love. Take this as a pre-lesson where I think love is not limited to relationships. I think it is not limited to romance. I think love is who we are as humans. I think it is our natural instinct. When you think of babies, they are just balls of love. They are bundles of love. That is who they are. That is how they come. So I really think love is our most natural form. I think love is who we are. And I have learned over the past years that I have so much love to give, not just to my husband, love that man, but I have so much love to give to strangers, to my friends, to family, to you, to people in my business. I just love loving on people. And that is something I've learned about myself very recently, actually, that I love being loving towards people, and sometimes it makes people uncomfortable. Sometimes it is too much. Sometimes it is totally taken the wrong way. But that is something I've learned about myself, and I'm learning that love is my favorite energy to work with in all senses, in the romantic sense, in the manifestation space, in my spiritual connection to myself and the universe. I love the energy of love. So that is where this episode is coming from. It is from the heart. I'm so excited because I feel like I don't see this topic come up a lot. Actually, that is such a lie. I have 2 authors. One of my favorite authors, Vex King, and then another author, Jay Shetty. They both have come out with books about love around this time, I believe. So that is such a lie. I think love is becoming such a big topic. I guess I haven't heard fellow podcasters maybe talk about it in this way. No one I listen to has talked about it in this way. So I'm excited to dive in. Lesson number 1 is that love is not going to look the same at all times in your relationships. And that is in all sorts of things. I think I see this on TikTok, I see this on Instagram, where there's this thing where it's like, if he wanted to, he would. And I want our energy to always be mutual and our energy to always be the same. One thing I learned is love in any sort of relationship, including with the relationship with yourself, is not always going to look the same. And it's not always going to be an equal give and receive. Love is not meant to be a constant. It is not like a formula that you perfect. So I think when we drop the expectations that how you should be loved, I know there's the 5 love languages. I think when you drop the expectations of what love looks like and what love should be expressed as from someone else, you start to learn that love is so much bigger than that. So the first rule I want to say is that love is not going to look the same at all times. So an example is me and Tom's relationship. When we first started dating, he was in the military. I was fresh out of college. Actually, I was partially in college for our relationship. And then I was fresh out of college at my dream job at the time. That's a story for another time. And we were doing long distance, and he was deployed. I was in India, and there was times where I felt like he wasn't loving me in the way I needed to be loved. He wasn't texting me. He wasn't FaceTiming me. He wasn't talking to me all the time. And that at that time was what I needed. Whereas for him, his focus was honestly staying alive, being there for him and his comrades, and focusing on work. And his work was so dangerous. that's what his focus was. His focus was not on loving me, and that is the truth. And that was such a hard truth for me to swallow, because looking back, I was like, wow, I was such an unsupportive girlfriend at the time. Like, you needed me to be there in a different way, and all I wanted was for him to text me when he realistically couldn't text me. He didn't have service. So we had to love each other in very different ways. And I don't think during that time I felt like I was being loved, but I loved him so much. And on the other hand, his perspective of it was he was loving me so much by still putting up with me and not breaking up with me, even though I was being so inconsiderate. So there's so many different versions of love, and at different stages of different relationships, whether this is a friendship, whether this is a partnership, whether this is your relationship with yourself, love is going to look different, and people are going to put in different efforts at different times, and it's going to show up differently. So I don't think love is always 50-50 and it's the same all the time. I think that is a really, really hard pressure to put. I know there's been multiple times in my relationship with Tom, with my family, where I have been so mean, or I've been so just focused on me, and they still chose to love me when I did not have time to give them the love that they probably wanted or needed from me. And that's happened in my friendships too. Some of my best friends, we've had periods where I didn't talk to them for a year or two because I was so focused on building my business. And it did hurt them, but we talked about it. And there's so many different ways that love looks like. And the more and more understanding you can have, I think the easier it will be to navigate the emotion of love. Lesson number 2 is I believe that love is an energy, and I think it has different masks. So my masks are acceptance, kindness, compassion, gratitude, and generosity. I believe that love can sometimes get categorized into the heart swelling and butterflies kind of feeling, but I do think there is so many different lenses and masks of love that as humans, it is part of who we are. When you take away the materialism in humanity, when you take away all of that, what really is left of humans is like, humans are inherently, for the most part, very kind, very giving, very loving, very supportive. And I think that's what I'm coming back to. I do think humans are ultimately love. I think we want to be love and we want to give love. I think that is just who we are. That is our nature. So I think love, different ways to understand love in your own life. And I take this one as like a self-reflection for you. Take this forward and ask yourself, when do you experience love in these lenses? So it's acceptance, kindness, compassion, gratitude, and generosity. I feel like if you partake in any one of these at least once a day, you are on the vibration of love. You are on the frequency of love. And my belief is that love is the highest frequency. Sorry, I'm definitely getting a call, but I'm just going to keep going. Oh, I can decline it right here. Okay. Number 3 is I believe love heals. I believe love heals so deeply, so much. I think it can heal emotional wounds. I think it can heal physical wounds. I think love can heal everything. Sorry, Tom is probably wondering where I am. Okay, guys, I'm trying to be better about being more raw on the podcast, so I'm just texting him back. Okay. So love heals. I believe love is the biggest healer. I think if you can give yourself love, you can heal yourself. I believe if you can give yourself gratitude, you can heal. I believe if you can give yourself compassion, you can heal. I believe if you give yourself acceptance, you can heal. So those are all the masks. And I do believe when you engage in those masks, when you look at yourself through those masks, when you partake in those masks, there is nothing that love cannot heal, in my opinion. I don't think love can heal, or I think love can heal anything from an illness to a heartbreak. I do think love can heal heartbreak. And I think the type of love that heals heartbreak is loving with yourself and compassion with yourself. I think love can heal grief and loss. I think love can seriously heal all suffering. I think love can heal anxiety. I think love can heal stress. I think love can heal lack of abundance. I really think love has the power to heal all. So I really, really think that love heals, and not only does it heal yourself, but it heals your relationships. So showing up with love, with even more love in your relationships, with even more love in yourself, with even more love towards your body. I think love is the ultimate healer. And that is one lesson I didn't understand until I started getting in fights with my family members. And I was like, wow, I am so frustrated with you, but I love you. And you don't understand me, and you're taking me for granted, and you're draining me. How do I still show up with love? In those situations, it took a lot for me. And what I started to realize is everyone I'm interacting with also has an inner child, also has a part of them that just needs more love. So am I able to first fill up my own cup and then show them love? Whether it's in the form of love, gratitude, compassion, kindness, generosity, or even just acceptance. I think acceptance is such a form of love that is very underrated. If we can just accept, we try and change people, we try and change our loved ones, we try and change things. If we can just accept, I do believe so much can heal. And I do think acceptance is a form of love. I think that's probably the most difficult form of love, because I fully tried to change Tom when we first started dating. He was such an army boy. He was such a kind of fratty army guy. And I was like, gosh, I really thought I wasn't dating a army boy. And I was. And I was so not down with some of the stuff they used to do. And he was not even bad. It was more myself. And it really used to bother me. And ultimately I realized like, hey, it's not fair for me to try and change him instead of just accepting him. And moving forward with acceptance has been probably the biggest healer in all of my relationships. So if you're struggling to heal a particular relationship, work with acceptance. Figure out what acceptance feels and looks like to you, because it is a form of love in my opinion. And I think it can really do wonders. Number 4 is wear those rose-colored glasses, or those rose-tinted glasses, as the saying goes. I think looking at life, looking at people, looking at yourself through the lens of love is such a key to life, to adding more magic in your life, to just feeling a sense of constant awe, to feeling just like on cloud 9. I think my favorite phrase, I'm sure it's not just me who says this, but I think my favorite phrase and my favorite affirmation that I ever created was, I look at my life and myself through the lens of love. And that lens of love, it just does something to me. It makes my body tingle. It makes my heart feel open. And I feel so deeply connected from this space that I really think that looking at your life through the lens of love is so powerful. And I know I'm talking about the word love a lot. So ask yourself, what does love look like to you? What does love feel like to you? How can you redefine that word in different ways? Play with it, because it might not be the same as it is for you, as it is for me. But for me, wearing those rose-tinted glasses and just looking at everything with that rosy flesh and allowing myself to find that sacred beauty in everything, and not the traditional sense of like, you look pretty beauty, but just like, I'm in awe of like, this is just purely beautiful. If my eyes were closed, it is beautiful. You know, that's a very big difference compared to you look beautiful, it feels beautiful. Like, that is so different. So that is what I mean. That is my lesson number 4, is look at your life through the lens of love. Wear those rose-colored glasses, because I just feel like life gets better when we do that. And number 5, back to relationships, is I really do believe love is a choice. I think people, especially even me, when you're not in a relationship or you're not married yet, it seems like there's those relationships that have that spark forever. They're those cute, constant newlyweds. That's like one type. And then there's another type of relationship that is just like the typical married couple. Like when people say you're fighting like a married couple, I think those are both choices. I do think there's emotions and hormones involved, but I do think being in that state of a relationship is always a choice. I think being in a state of newlywed vibe versus being in a state of, or honeymoon even, like in dating, right? Honeymoon stage versus newlyweds, or being in the state of you're a married couple now, or mom and dad. I think that is a choice. I know life happens. I know circumstances come up. But I do think choosing to love, choosing to show up as love, choosing to be there for your partner, I think love is such a choice. I don't think it's a given, and I don't think it's something that is always there in terms of relationships. I think it is a constant choice to show up as someone who loves somebody. And I think that choice trickles down to yourself as well as your relationships. This is any sort of relationship, but I am referring to like romantic relationships because I know it's Valentine's Day. I want to give you what you want. I know a lot of people like talking about relationships. And so I think that the biggest thing I've learned, Tom and I have been married three years now almost. We got married in 2020. So we've been married 3 years, and people always ask us, like, how are you guys still so happy? Like, why do you guys still have fun? And it's like, it's a choice. Like, there are times where I am not happy with him and we could easily make things into an argument, but it's like, it's just a conscious effort. It is a choice. Like, is this fun? No, it is not fun for me to argue with my best friend. So why not? Like, why can't we just drop it? Egos aside, love wins. And I think from all the relationships I've seen that are like super successful, and I think every relationship that exists is successful. I don't think it's like a pass or fail, but I think for the relationships that I've seen just that make me feel inspired are the ones who openly admit love is a choice. And it is a choice for me to love you on your good days, on your bad days, on the days where you might snap at me, on the days where I might snap at you. It is a choice. And look at that, observe that, and you have to ask yourself, like, are you willing to make that choice with yourself? Because I ultimately do believe all our relationships, all love is such a mirror. I think our love within ourselves and the relationship we have within ourselves and the universe, I believe that reflects into all of our relationships. And so are you choosing to love yourself even when you are hard to love? I believe we all have moments we're harder to love. Even in our own eyes, I think there's moments I'm hard to love. Like, I look at myself sometimes, I'm like, wow, I don't want to love you, but I am choosing to love you today. Like, there are days where I look at myself and I don't want to love me. It's a very natural thing. I think we all struggle with self-imposed sabotage, and those days make it harder to love our own selves. And I want to remind you that loving yourself is a choice. It is not a natural or constant state of being all the time. It is also a choice. So you get to choose to tap into that energy, whether it's for yourself or for someone else. So those are my 5 lessons. I wrote these down in a journaling session. I hope they resonated with you. But my biggest thing is on Valentine's Day, February, I personally am focusing a lot on love this month. I usually don't, but something inside of my heart told me, hey, it is time for you to focus on love, because I do love love. And I've learned that I am someone who has so much love to give, not only in a romantic sense, but in all senses. And I want to open that channel up. It helps me open my heart up, not only internally, but also externally. So I do want to show that. I want to show that side of me a little bit more. So follow me on Instagram. I am talking all things love. I think I haven't decided the date at the time of recording this podcast, but I have a workshop. I'm doing a ton of stuff, and I'm also launching like a little manifestation mentorship all about love. And so I do feel like it is time for me to focus more and more on love, and I'm trying to be just completely open with it, because my biggest fear when I'm talking about love is I don't want people to take it so literally, where it comes off as you have to manifest your soulmate and that's the only way to be happy, because I never feel that way. The only way I manifested my soulmate was focusing on myself and loving myself. And so that is my biggest fear, that certain things that I share about love might get misconstrued or misunderstood. But I am ready to take that chance. I am ready to open up my heart, not only to give you love, but hopefully for you to experience even deeper levels of love, because I really think love is the most sacred frequency that we can all tap into anytime. So those are my 5 lessons. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I love you, and I hope you have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you soon.